Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start the video on how to set up our Squatch II, the 2005 Coleman Fleetwood Niagara camper, which is a pop-up. So you're going to start by unhooking the 4 locks on the top for the roof. So you're just going to do 2 on the passenger side and then the 2 on the driver's side. After you unhook and level out the camper, please make sure you level out the camper by using the levels on the back and then the front passenger side right there before you set up. So now we're going to go ahead and take out our tools and our setup gear. So the boards that I'm pointing at, those are leveling. For leveling, there's leveling blocks for the tires too in case you're in an unlevel area. Please make sure you use those before you disconnect and start setting up as we are right now. So we're just going to lay down those 4 square wood blocks for the stabilizer jacks. And these stabilizer jacks are put down by using a crank. Please do not use an impact. If you use an impact and you mistakenly break something, it could cause you to lose the security deposit. So for any crank mechanism, please hand crank only. So we're just going to go ahead and continue to crank down each of these stabilizers to make sure the camper is stable when you're using it before you put out any of the bunks, the slide, or raise the roof, I guess in reverse order of what I just said. And here we are with the last one, and that's going to be down. So as soon as those are down, you can go ahead and if you are going to be putting up the awning, you want to make sure that will come down first. And I remember that right now. So you want to go ahead and unzip that. And then once it's up unzipped, it's best to set this up with 2 people. If you do have just 1 person, you can still do it, but you want to be in the middle holding on because this awning will come out. It's a fully manual awning. It has 3 bars on the front to lift it up, and then there are also 4 stabilizers that will go in the roof, but we'll get to that later on. So once that's down, then you can go ahead and crank up the roof. So just before you're putting up the roof, remember to undo those 4 latches and then undo the awning if you want to use it. It's optional. Again, you don't have to use it. And then when you are cranking up the roof, please make sure you are doing it slowly with the crank. Again, no impact. I've already had to replace this crank before, and it's not a fun job, but it is a brand new crank. Everything that you have in this camper is pretty much fully restored by myself and somewhat of my husband, but mostly myself. So very much new, modern camper, and hopefully everybody will enjoy it. So once that is cranked up to a high point on the right driver's side rear pole, you'll see a black Sharpie mark that we've marked where you need to stop cranking up. If you do over crank the camper, that will also break the crank. So again, just wanting to make sure you're very careful when you're cranking up the top and then stopping where that black Sharpie line is. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and pull out the beds. And once you have it to a point where it stops, then you can go ahead and lower the support poles. You want to make sure all of the support poles are down before any weight goes on the bunks. So these supports are pretty sturdy. There's a mechanism where it will pull forward and lock, and you want to just make sure you do that on both sides here shown in the video. Again, and then use the kind of guide it down so it doesn't scratch up the back or the front of the campers. And then I just like to drape over the tarp, the canvas a little bit so that the support poles for the inside will go down easily. And then the same thing we're going to do again with the front bunk. And then you're just going to want to go ahead and pull that out. And once that's pulled out all the way, again, you can go ahead and you do the support poles on the front of the camper. So just guiding that down and then inserting them into the little pegs that are on the front of the tongue hitch right there. And then we do that for the other side as well. And it's going to have the same mechanism as the back ones are. Just watch your fingers when you are doing this. And that's it for the beds. So now we're going to go ahead and get that awning put up before we start working on the inside or pulling up the slide. You're going to pull out the slide first before you start working on anything in the inside. But it's all pretty much good to go. Again, this awning setup is optional. There are the 3 support poles in the front of the awning, and usually I have them on like the second to last little pin right there. So once you kind of have all of those 3 set up, you're going to want to uh, get a hammer and a stake, and there are stakes in the front cubby. I didn't have one out before I did this, which is why I'm kind of frantically searching, because it has a hard time staying up if you don't do this. If you have 2 or 3 people and somebody can hold it, that's great while you're doing this. If not, and you're a single person doing this, no worries there. And then there's going to be the 4 support poles. So there's a little hole, and then on the back, it just kind of fits snugly right alongside the camper. Now in this video, I put it on the inside of the canvas bag. I have a light system with Velcro underneath. I did end up putting this, redoing it and putting it underneath the bag. It just flops around a little bit more if there's wind, but it's really not that big of a deal. So just going ahead and inserting that last pole right here.
I definitely recommend and tell you this is a 2-person job.
Yes. If you want the awning up, do not do this without 2 people.
I did say that you shouldn't do it with more than 2 people. You could do it by yourself if you know what you're doing, and by following along with this video. It just makes it a little bit more difficult, but maybe some of us consider that a little bit more fun. So now I'm opening the door with that gold key, and then there's a little door lock. You can use this door, that door to lock up if you're going to the beach or something, but there's another door that we'll put down in just a moment. So now we're going to go ahead and do the slide. You want to make sure you unlock both sides. There's a little lock lever. You can't really see it from the video, but if you look down there, you can see how it works. So after those are unlocked, you want to just make sure you pull it out slowly and don't yank on it. One of my handles is a little bit... it works, but I do need to replace it, so just be a little cautious pulling that out right now. And then just making sure that canvas is on the beds as much as it is before going around to the front. And before you go in the camper, you can pull out that step stool. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and grab the bars, and you want to insert it right between those 2 little screw holes, and then there's a little hole at the top just to insert the last bit of the bar into. So again, doing it for the other side. And I think here, so I didn't put the canvas down all the way down on the right side, so I had to go back out and make a quick adjustment. And my husband here is going to help me from the inside and go ahead and put this up. Again, this job is much easier with 2 people. I probably would highly recommend at least 2 people renting the pop-up unit just for ease of setup, because this is about, with the awning, it was about a 45-hour job with just the 2 of us. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and put up the bathroom. So there's some locks there. You just kind of follow the guides. One goes in, one comes out, and then we put in the door, and there's a little lip on the back side, so you just want to make sure that lip goes on the inside, and then there's some Velcro here, so we just put the Velcro on. That's the light for the bathroom on the left side, and that is pretty much it for the inside, besides the door. But right now I'm just making sure my bunks are secure. So there's just hooks, the elastic with the hooks. You're just going to want to make sure you put all of that together and then do the Velcro last. And I'm going to go around in just a second and do the same exact thing for the other side. So the bunks are nice and watertight. Yep, and then we're just gonna make sure everything is snug, but not too tight. It should all just fit very snug and not be in a position where you're not able to put them on. So everything just fits really nicely here. My camper is mostly level. We did have an issue with the door, so you just want to make sure the camper again is fully level before you set anything up. All right, so just the last bit here, you're just going to want to make sure everything that has Velcro is Velcro down to prevent water leaks. Yep, and then in the corner as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to the inside now, and the last thing that we do is get the door down. All right, and there's two buttons to unlock with the cloth there that holds it up, and then there's a little pin mechanism in the bottom. So then you're just gonna go ahead and shimmy that off the best way that you can, and then go ahead and slide it forward. And that top folding piece, you're gonna want to make sure that's folded back so it's on the inside. And then the door will just go down, and there are two buttons. You can see them right there. So they would go through that, and then you would just turn them so that the door would fit on. And yes, here the camper was not exactly level, so the door was not going on easily. And a way to avoid this is to just make sure the camper is completely level before you set up anything on it. Because if it's not, then there is a good chance you may have to do it all over again. All right, so I finally got the door on, just showing you that everything on the outside should be Velcroed in as well, and just making sure those flaps are also on the Velcro on the top, or I'm sorry, on the front, and then that is the setup. So here's just a complete picture of the setup, and that rug is included in all of my rentals. Thanks for watching.